everyone! Ever had that moment when you are staring into the trading screen, flipping through charts, and it's like watching paint dry? Yeah, I've been there too. So what do? Do you call it quits and wait for better times? Or do you try to make some cash even when the market seems deader than a doornail? Well, I decided to give it a shot. Wanna know how it went down? Stick around till the end of the video and I will spin all the bands on how much I managed to pocket and how I did it. Let's get started. Hey folks, so I've talked about this trading strategy involving downtrend channels and Bollinger Bands on the channel before, so today we're spicing it up with a stochastic oscillator. For the stochastic, I'm keeping the default settings, downtrend channels also leaving them untouched. No fiddling with the settings here. But for the Bollinger Bands, we're gonna tweak things a bit. We're bumping up the period count to 30 and adjusting the deviation settings to 3. Now, I've explained how this strategy works in detail in a previous video, so make sure to check that out to get a better grasp of the trading system. And talking about the main signals of the system, you can spot them. For instance, right here. Keep your eyes on the chart. I will give you the lowdown. Well, when the chart intersects with the upper boundaries of both channels at a single point, that's when we open an option predicting a price drop because the upward momentum is fizzling out. And vice versa, if the chart touches the lower boundaries of both the downtrend channel and the Bollinger Band simultaneously, we're trading for a drop. So let's hunt for such a moment on the chart. Almost everywhere we had steady growth in the euro-dollar pair, and I don't see any suitable point yet to visually show such a signal and not explain it on my fingers. Well, and there it is. Turns out we didn't have to look far. For example, right here, we see such a moment. The chart touched the lower line, signaling an opportunity to go for an upswing. Today, we're gonna use the stochastic to confirm or refute these signals. So these should make the system more precise and increase its success rate. So let's get started. We messing around with this stuff already? How much longer are you going to bleed the money? Find a stable income instead. Ever heard these kinds of advice? But hold your horses. Give yourself another shot. For that, change your surroundings and listen to a different opinion. In my Telegram, there are hundreds of stories of folks who managed to earn their first big bucks after many failed attempts and losses. How did they pull it off? First and foremost, through their hard work and patience. But what really pushed them on the edge was the right environment. Such a community has formed our exclusive club. Here we run marathons every week, boosting our deposits from $100 to $5,000. We trade every day from Monday to Friday. I also post the results of each trading sessions in my channel. Subscribe, I've left the link in the description to this video and in the pinned comment to this video. Give yourself another shot. Trade, earn, and gain the knowledge together with me. But now, let's get back to our trading system and see how it fares in action. I put in my first trade for an uptrend in the euro-dollar exchange rate. As I explained earlier, we got a signal for an upward trend right here when the chart touched the lower boundaries of the channels. But on the low volatility market, such touches can linger for a few candles. The bounce doesn't always happen instantly. Well, in such cases, the stochastic serves as an additional filter to find the best entry point. Its exit from the oversold zone suggests that the reversal phase is over and it's time to open the trade. Got the uptrend signal from the stochastic, so I'm opening the trade for an uptick at this moment. As you can see, the additional oscillator filters out false signals, and let me remind you, no system has a 100% success rate. But this time, thanks to this stochastic, the trade closes successfully and we see our first profit in the balance. Just $7 for now, which I will reinvest in the next trade as part of our growth strategy. By the way, I read all your comments and sometimes they crack me up, honestly. Especially when on the videos about growth, people write, "Oh, this is just fairy tales, it's impossible, how can you trade like that?" Guys, what do you think? Can you trade like this constantly without risks? Or do you believe that I hit the jackpot from the get-go and I only work with a 100% success rate? No, of course not. It's not always smooth sailing from the start. I'm not a trading bot, and even bots at best have an 80% success rate. So let's take a little break. Time to get back to trading and open a trade for an uptrend. I think it's a good opportunity right now, though of course I could be wrong. The reasons are the same. The chart is clearly in an upward phase. We see that the stochastic continues to leave the oversold zone. I'm waiting for a small pullback after the upward spike, but I think the asset's value will continue to rise. Fox, growth trading is a fun format for videos. It's more interesting for you to learn new strategies than if I boringly lectured off screen where nothing is happening. But this is not something to just copy. In regular trading, I also use risk management. I invest up to 5% of my deposit in trades, and I recommend you to do the same. Everyone faces losses, it's just a matter of how much they make up of your total trades. This time we got a positive result, $13 on the balance. The chart's behaving sluggishly, so I look for another asset to make money on. Now I'm trading for a downtrend, not exactly according to the strategy, but just at first glance. So let's look at the chart. There is an interesting moment. Do you think entering the overbought zone with an oscillator always means an uptrend? Of course not. It all depends on how you analyze this situation. Here is how I do it. We have an upwards resistance level, and generally it's clear that the chart is in a horizontal price corridor. And we have, of course, a slight expansion of the Bollinger Bands, but it's so tiny that it's too early to talk about volatility increasing. So the level is unlikely to be breached, and that's why I expect a bounce and a drop from the resistance level. I think the chart will continue to move in waves within the sideways trend, and in this case, the oscillator just tells us that the price has reached the peak within the corridor. The decision was right. It reflects positively on my deposit. With $25, I will go search for a new trade. And again, trading for a downtrend, we will figure out why, but in general, there is a lot in common with the previous trade. Today, the whole market is in the one big sideways trend. Let's draw its boundaries. Here is the resistance level, and below is the second boundary of the corridor. We see that when touching the resistance level, the stochastic starts to turn around, and I think it won't either enter the overbought zone but will bounce off it. Also, notice that the Bollinger Bands are narrowing, signaling a decrease in market volatility, so I do not see any reason for the level to be breached and expect the price to drop from it. Friends, to finally address the topic of your weird comments, I will say that my percentage of successful trades is around 70%. So naturally, I don't make thousands from just a few bucks every single day, every single trade. No. But this time, the trade stats got another profitable addition to the balance. Already $45 in the kitty, so let's look for a new opportunity to increase that sum of money. Finally managed to catch a growth movement, and we've intersected both the chart and the upper boundaries of the Johnson and Bollinger channel simultaneously, just like in the textbook. So I opened a trade for a downtrend. See, here is the intersection point I was talking about. And on one hand, we see that the stochastic has found its place in the overbought zone, and it seems like it's too early to enter the trade. But I also point out that volatility is increasing right now, so we see from the widening Bollinger Bands. But it's not very significant yet, and even at this moment, volatility was significantly higher. That's why I'm waiting for a bounce according to our system, because the channel lines here represent a dynamic resistance level. Further growth may continue, but at this particular moment, I think a drop is very likely. And there you have it, folks. $83 is coming to my deposit. Wonderful. So let's look for an opportunity to increase them and cash in the first $100 in our growth strategy. Opening a trade for a downtrend or these temperamental currency pairs with British pounds, trading with such assets is often unpredictable. Honestly, there was a great temptation to open a trade from this level, but here, the stochastic indicator warned me against such a decision. Nevertheless, it's better to draw the resistance level from the chart of this currency pair at this mark. Currency pairs with British pounds are almost always low volatility, and you can see that now from the distance between the Bollinger Bands. So I think the chart has reached its peak in the sideways trend. We determined this with the stochastic. It reached the overbought zone. I believe the price will bounce off the level and the chart will return to the boundaries of the sideways movement, the support level of which is around here. Well, excellent. A very confident drop for such low volatility. There is $155 in the bank, so let's move on. Alright, this time is move on. Opening the trade for a downtrend after a rise that hit the intersection of the Donchian and Bollinger Channel boundaries. We've been through this before. Despite the stochastic being in the overbought zone, I anticipate a bounce. Even if you compare the size of the last growth candle with the previous ones, you will see a significant difference. After such a surge, at least correction is inevitable. A couple more words about the risks of deposit growth strategies. So look at the math. If I have $2,000 in my deposit, then 1% is $20. This is considered the right risk distribution. But if I make 5 attempts to grow with $4 and spend the same $20, it's still the same risks, right? I'm not advocating trading like this. So if $4 is a significant part of your deposit, especially it's not good for beginners. But if you have a good track record of positive traders and have a balanced reserve, it can yield results like I have now. There is profit in the balance, and let's find where we can increase it further. Open the trade for an uptrend. Pay attention to the chart. Let's discuss the signals. Look, here we also have an obvious sideways trend. Here is the resistance level and here is the support level. Well, the chart has slightly deviated from the corridor and dropped below the support level, but I don't see any prerequisites for it to move far beyond its limits. At this moment, the chart skipped past the level but immediately returned to it, and I think it will continue its drift within this price corridor. And the stochastic is helping us. Its lines are trying to leave the oversold zone, which is also a signal for growth. There is no volatility in the market. It's very difficult to trade right now. And the pair with the British pound doesn't make it easier for me, since this currency reacts very slowly and often there is not enough expiration time. But not this time, folks. $522 is coming into our deposit. I traded with the British pound because the broker currently offers the best profit on these assets, but let's still look for another opportunity for a good trade. Friends, let's open an option with a forecast for the rise in the exchange rate of the Canadian dollar Swiss franc currency pair. The principle here is the same. Again, the infamous sideways movement in the support level is at this very mark. Immediately upon reaching the level by the chart, the stochastic oscillator begins to reverse. So I'm expecting a bounce from the level because there are no prerequisites for it to be broken. And that's right. Volatility today is lower than the shortest habit. I'm not even sure if any levels are breaking today. And we see that even after a sharp narrowing of the Bollinger Bands, when in theory some trends should start, there was some growth. But it was so insignificant that it looks more like a fluctuation than the beginning of a confident movement. So the chart quickly returned to the usual sluggish sideways movement, but this is not a reason to give up. Almost $1,000 in the bank, so let's move on, friends. I opened the deal on a decrease just now, and again the case when the stochastic oscillator helped to avoid a failure. Pay attention to the chart. I will explain the reasons for my decision. Here we had touches by the chart to the upper boundaries of the Donchian and Bollinger channels, but the stochastic was in the overbought zone and continued to grow in it. I didn't open a deal and continued to observe, and only now, when the oscillator left the overbought zone, I opened an option for a decrease on the pullback. Logically, the chart should move down to the middle lines of the channels, but that's with normal volatility, and for now, everything is going very hard. Ideally, in such a market, you should adjust the expiration time to several minutes to avoid the risk of the chart getting stuck and unforeseen jumps. But I will finish this session with a 1-minute expiration. And by the way, the chart is confidently going down in the end, so there is profit, and it's $1,671 on the balance, and we continue. Opened a deal for an increase in the exchange rate of the euro-British pound currency pair. Here too the situation is as sideways as it gets. The task was to catch the entry point as close to the support level as possible, and I think I succeeded. I don't think that the price will go below this level. There is still no volatility, so I'm expecting a bounce from the support level. The Bollinger Bands are even narrowing at this point. What kind of breakout are we talking about? The stochastic is approaching the oversold zone but has not entered it yet, and by the nature of its lines, we can assume that it will bounce a bit. Now, as you can see, the blue oscillator line crosses the signal orange one from bottom to top, so the probability of a stochastic reversal tends to 100%. Horrible, the market is very bad today. You can make money in sideways market, but it's not always enjoyable. At least the balance amount is pleasing. So friends, let's finish the trading session on this. I'm done for today. Let's better move on to the pleasant part of trading, namely withdrawing money from the broker's platform for our personal use. Today's trading is not easy, but friends, trading is not about endless excitement and market races. More often, it's a monotonous and sometimes boring job, but very profitable. I will be withdrawing $2,500. Please note that you can transfer money to cryptocurrency wallets in different currencies, but I prefer USDT. By the way, friends, you can also leave this amount with the broker at 10% per annum, which you will agree is quite good for investments in dollars. But you can decide actually. To do this, deposit money into the safe, and pocket option will credit you with interest on your investments, but again, it's up to you. But I need them in my personal wallet now, so I enter its address and I click to continue button. Let's wait for the page to load. Done. The request has been sent to the broker. They will confirm the transaction very soon, and I will receive the required amount. The amount has already been debited from the balance in the transaction history, but it hasn't arrived in my wallet yet. So this is the most nerve-wracking moment, but there has never been a time when something went wrong and I didn't get my money. I hope it will be the same this time. I will be back to you to show you how it all ended up. Alright, the money withdrawal has taken place, and this time everything went smoothly. So let's look at our record in the transaction history. This line is here, and now the request is marked as completed. The money is in my wallet. Now I can use them wherever I am in the world. So let's sum it up. Building up your deposit in this way is of course very risky. It's better to trade with a risk control system and money management. But this video is about something else. Namely, how to build a balanced system using different tools and market analysis. that will certainly yield the results. In the end, maybe not in 11 trades, but you can earn $2,500. Subscribe to this channel and like this video if this was helpful. Hit the bell so you don't miss out on the new ones. Subscribe to my Telegram channel and send me your questions in the private messages. And in Telegram, I will share a link that will grant you 50% deposit bonus on your first trading token option. 50% real money. That's it from me for today. Thank you for watching this video and see you soon.